Hello, Malcolm Cabby. How you doing? So player profiles, and we're going to focus on the one and only Super Kevin Phillips. So Kevin Mark Phillips, born 25th of July 1973, is an English former professional footballer who was most recently the head coach of National League North club AFC Clyde. A striker, Phillips started his career with Southampton but failed to make the first team and was released. He then signed for non-league side Baldock Town, where he impressed, earning a move to Watford in 1994. In 1997, Phillips signed for First Division club Sunderland. In his first season, he scored 35 goals in all competitions, the most goals in a season for a Sunderland player since the Second World War. As well as being the league's top goal scorer, Phillips scored 23 goals in 26 games in the following season as Sunderland were crowned champions of the First Division. He received his first call up to the England national team in 1999. In the 1999-2000 season, Phillips scored 30 Premier League goals to earn himself a place in the PFA Team of the Year. This goal tally earned him the Golden Boot Award, as well as the European Golden Shoe. He was the first Englishman to have won the award and remains the only one to achieve it in the Premier League. Not many people know that, you know. Phillips was named in the squad for UEFA Euro 2000. Although he made no appearances at the finals, he made his 8th and final appearance for England in 2002. Phillips spent a further 3 seasons with the Wearside club, making a staggering 235 appearances and scoring 130 goals before departing for Southampton in 2003 following Sunderland's relegation. So, after 2 seasons with Southampton and 1 with Aston Villa, Phillips signed for Championship club West Bromwich Albion. In his 2nd season with West Brom, Phillips was a member of the team that won the league, with him being named as the Championship Player of the Season in 2008. He signed for fellow West Midlands club Birmingham City, where he won the League Cup in his 3rd season. He spent 2 seasons with Championship club Blackpool before moving to Crystal Palace, initially on loan. With Palace, Phillips scored the winning penalty in the playoff final against his former club Watford to earn promotion to the Premier League in January 2014. Phillips signed for Leicester City, who won the Championship title. He retired to the end of the 2013-14 season. So he began his coaching career with his last club, Leicester City, as an assistant first team coach. After other coaching roles with Derby County and Stoke City, he began his managerial career with South Shields. With South Shields, he won the Northern Premier League title in his 2nd season before leaving at the end of the season. In January 2024, he was confirmed as the new manager of Hartlepool. So in his early career, Phillips was born in Hitchin, Hertfordshire. He started his footballing career as a trainee with Southampton, where he spent 6 years. Fought as a schoolboy before taking on as an apprentice in 1989. As a youth, Phillips was considered to be too small to play up front and was played at right back, in which position he made 2 reserve team appearances in 1990. He failed to make the grade at Southampton and was released by manager Chris Nicholl, and returned to Hertfordshire, where he signed for non-league semi-professional side Baldock Town in the summer of 1991. At Baldock Town, he was initially played as a defender until an injury crisis resulted in manager Ian Allison playing Phillips as a striker, scoring twice in his first match in a new role. He was signed by Watford in December 1994 for an initial of £10,000 plus 4 additional payments of £5,000. So for Watford, Phillips established himself in the squad during the second half of the 1994-95 season and played regularly before suffering a foot injury in March 1996. Initially diagnosed as a hairline fracture and later discovered to be a hole in a ligament in his foot that kept him out for 1 year. Watford were relegated from Division 1 in 1995, and by the time Phillips returned to the team, they were in the top half of Division 2 and went on to finish 13th. In July 1997, Phillips signed for Sunderland for a fee of £325,000, potentially rising to more than £600,000. So at Sunderland, Phillips signed for the Black Cats just after their relegation from the Premiership, 15 matches into the Division 1 season. The club were in mid-table and Phillips had 4 goals in the remainder of the season. Phillips set or equalled the club's records by scoring in 7 consecutive matches. Excuse me. And in 9 consecutive home matches. Became the first Sunderland player since Brian Clough in 1961-62 to score 30 goals in a season, and finished the campaign with 35 goals in all competition. The most by any Sunderland player in one season since, as you say, the Second World War. His tally included a 4-goal haul in the third round of the FA Cup at Rotherham United and 2 goals in the playoff campaign. After scoring Sunderland's second goal in the playoff final, Phillips was substituted after 73 minutes with an injury, so missed the remaining of the 4-4 dramatic draw with Charlton Athletic, which Sunderland lost 7-6 on penalties. Phillips later described the final as his most disappointing day in football, but also as the best match he's ever played in. Phillips scored 8 goals in the opening weeks of the 1998-99 season as Sunderland reached the top of Division 1 table. A broken toe sustained in a League Cup tie against Chester City in mid-September kept him out for nearly 4 months, but his goal scoring resumed immediately upon his return with a screaming volley away to Queen's Park Rangers. Promotion was confirmed in April as Phillips scored 4 of Sunderland's 5 goals in an away game against Bury. What a night that was. And he ended up the season with 23 goals from only 26 league games and 25 goals in all competitions. His form earned him an international call-up for England, and he made his debut in the starting 11 in a friendly against Hungary. In the run-up to the start of the 1999-2000 FA Premier League season, pundit Rodney Marsh predicted that Phillips would struggle to get more than 5 goals at this higher level. Forming a potent little and large striker pairing with veteran target man Niall Quinn, Phillips scored his 6th goal on 18th of September, the first of a hat-trick against Derby County, and was named Premier League Player of the Month for October. His goal tally was 20 by mid-January and 30 by the season's end, a total that earned him not only the Premier League Golden Boot, but also the European Golden Shoe Award. He was the first Englishman to win the latter and held the distinction until Harry Kane won the honour in 2024. And with a 14-goal return from Quinn, contributed to Sunderland's 7th place finish, just missing out on a UEFA Cup place. In January 2001, Phillips scored his 104th goal for Sunderland, breaking the club's post-war goal-scoring record. As the season wore on, Phillips suffered both a lack of form and disciplinary problems. He scored only once between mid-January and May and came in for criticism from fans and local press. He finished the season with 18 goals in all competitions, 14 in the league, as Sunderland again finished 7th and missed out just on UEFA qualification. Phillips' goals contribution to Sunderland's 2001-02 season fell to 13, of which 11 came in the league. He relinquished his penalty-taking duties after 3 consecutive spot kicks were saved, but his goal on the final day of the season in a 1-1 draw with Derby County was enough to ensure his 17th place Premier League survival. He played the last months of the campaign despite a groin problem which required surgery over the 2002 close season. Amid interest from clubs including Arsenal and Spurs, Phillips pledged his future to Sunderland ahead of the 2002-03 season, though he later confirmed he submitted a transfer request in August. Manager Peter Reid brought in strikers Tory Andrea Flo and Marcus Stewart, and warned Phillips he was no longer an automatic first choice. Phillips, in fact, started 32 of the 38 league matches, but scored only 6 goals. As the club were relegated with just 4 wins and what were Premier League record lows of 19 points and 21 goals, a second transfer request was rejected in January, but at the end of the season, Phillips confirmed that the club's need to reduce his expenditure in light of relegation meant that he would be leaving. He played in 235 matches for Sunderland and scored 130 goals at an average of better than a goal every 2 games. So phenomenal, really. So for Southampton, in August 2003, following Sunderland's relegation from the Premier League, Phillips moved to the South Coast to join Southampton for around about a fee of $3.25 million, with Phillips signing a 4-year contract while taking a substantial cut in his salary. He made his debut on 16th of August, coming on as a substitute away to Leicester City and scoring with a long-range strike in a 2-2 draw. His next goal came at White Hart Lane on the 20th of September when the ball ricocheted in off him from an attempted clearance by Tottenham's Hotspur Anthony Gardner. This was followed in midweek by the equalising goal in a 1-1 draw with Steaua Bucharest in the UEFA Cup first round. On the following Saturday, Phillips was sent off in the final minute of a bad-tempered 1-0 defeat to Middlesbrough after he kicked out at Borough defender Frank Quadru. Phillips then, of course, failed to score for over 3 months until his fourth goal of the season came in a 2-1 victory over Leeds United on the 17th of January 2004. There then followed a rich run of form, which Phillips netted 10 further goals in the final 4 months of the season, including 2 goals in the matches at Manchester United, Wolves and Manchester City. Phillips ended the 2003-04 season with 13 goals in total from 37 appearances. And in March 2004, manager Gordon Strachan had resigned to replace Paul Sturrock, who was dismissed shortly after the start of the 2004-05 season, to be replaced in turn by Steve Wigley, who spent just 3 months in charge before the arrival of Harry Redknapp from local rivals Portsmouth in December. Phillips had now played under 4 managers within a year. Despite the frequent changes in manager, Phillips continued to score regularly in his partnership with new signing Peter Crouch. He managed 10 league goals in 2004-05, including 2 in a 3-3 draw with Fulham on the 5th of January. Despite Phillips' goals, though, the club finished at the bottom of the table and were relegated 27 years in the top after 27 years in the top flight. On June 29th, 2005, Phillips departed from Southampton after 2 years and 22 league goals to join Aston Villa in a £1 million deal. And Phillips signed a 2-year contract with Premier League club Aston Villa for a fee of £1 million on the 29th of June 2005. He scored just 4 minutes into his Villa debut and then returned from injury to seal Villa's first Premier League defeat of local rivals Birmingham City in 7 attempts. Phillips shared frontman duties with Juan Pablo Angel and fellow new signing Milan Barros, but illness and further injuries disrupted his season, in which he contributed only 5 goals. He began the 2006-07 season with Villa, but on the 22nd of August he signed for West Brom of the Championship for a fee of £700,000. Phillips joined West Brom Albion despite strong interest from Sunderland, where his former striker partner Niall Quinn had recently become both chairman and manager. He cited a reluctance to move his family and home for the 3rd time in 3 years as a major factor in his decision. He scored 22 goals in his first season with West Brom, including 2 hat-tricks, one in a 5-1 win at Ipswich and the second in a 7-0 defeat of Barnsley on the final day of the regular season that confirmed Albion's place in the playoffs. Phillips scored twice in the first leg of the playoff semi-final against Wolves and headed the only goal of the second leg to ensure the progression to the final, in which they lost 1-0 to Derby County. He then missed 6 weeks of the 2007-08 season because of a knee injury sustained in early November, but rediscovered his goal-scoring form on his return to the win with the Championship Player of the Month award for December, described by Albion manager Tony Mowbray as a natural goal scorer with great awareness and vision. Phillips scored his 200th league goal in a 1-1 draw with Crystal Palace on 13th of March 2008 for the last match of the season away to Queen's Park Rangers. Fans of West Bromwich Albion chose to dress up as superheroes in honour of Kevin Phillips, who was nicknamed Super Kev. Albion won the match 2-0 to win promotion to the Premier League as champions. Phillips won numerous awards over the season. He received Player of the Year awards, both the West Bromwich Albion Supporters Club and from the club itself, after scoring 24 goals from 30 starts and finishing the Championship's second top goal scorer at a national level. He was chosen Championship Player of the Year at the annual Football League Awards ahead of Andy Gray of Charlton Athletic and Michael Kitely of Wolverhampton Wanderers. And together with teammates Paul Robinson, Jonathan Greening was named in PFA Championship Team of the Year. Then Birmingham City, with his contract with West Brom Albion expired at the end of 2007-8 season, the club offered Phillips a one-year deal with an additional second year if he made 19 or more league appearances. He rejected the offer, preferring to sign a 2-year contract with Birmingham City. Newly relegated from the Premier League, he made his debut on the opening day of the 2008-09 season against Sheffield United, coming on as a substitute to score a stoppage-time winner in a 1-0 victory. Phillips continued his scoring run with goals in the next 2 games against Southampton and Barnsley, lashed in a stinging low drive against Reading that earned him the club's Goal of the Season award, and finished the season with 14 goals in all competitions. His 14th to take a 2-goal lead in the 2-1 win against promotion rivals Reading on the last day of the season that ensured Birmingham's return to the Premier League after just one season in the Championship. So, at 36, Phillips recognised he would play at a reduced role at a higher level, of course, in a season when manager Alex McLeish relied on consistency in the team selection. Birmingham set a Premier League record of 9 consecutive matches with the same starting 11 and a club record 12-match unbeaten run in the top flight. He started only twice, but came on as a substitute in 17 games. He scored only 4 goals. But those goals contributed 4 points to the club's highest finish for more than 50 years. Against Wolverhampton Wanderers, he came off the bench to score twice in the last 10 minutes and win the game. And on the 27th of March 2010, 1-0 down at home to Arsenal, a 92nd minute clearance by Baka Sagna deflected off Phillips' face via the goalkeeper into the net for his 250th career goal. He signed a 1-year contract extension ahead of the 2010-11 season, but missed the start through injury. He went on to make 5 league starts, but his major contribution came in the League Cup facing League One club Brentford. Phillips scored a stoppage-time equaliser and converted his penalty in the shootout, by which Birmingham progressed to the quarter-final. They then went to reach the final, where Phillips received his first winner's medal in a cup competition, albeit as an unused substitute. As Birmingham defeated favourites Arsenal 2-1, of course, Birmingham finished 18th in the league, so were relegated to the Championship, and Phillips was one of several players to leave the club with their contracts expiring. So off he went then to Blackpool on the 10th of July 2011. He signed a 1-year deal with the Football League Championship club. On 14th of August, he scored both of Blackpool's goals in the 2-1 league victory over Peterborough on his home debut. He again scored twice a few days later, including a last-minute equaliser in a 2-2 draw away at Brighton and Hove Albion. On the 5th of November, Phillips scored the only goal of the game against Millwall, within 3 minutes of coming on as a substitute. In a 5-game spell in January on February 2012, he came off the bench to score late equalising goals in 3 league matches, 2 of which went on to win. And in his first start in 3 months, converted a 93rd minute penalty against Sheffield Wednesday in the 4th round of the FA Cup to force a replay. Phillips finished the season as the club's top scorer with 17 goals in all competitions and won their goal of the season for his equaliser against Cardiff City. Described in The Observer as a lovely lob punishing goalkeeper David Marshall for a punch clearance that lacked the required distance, Phillips took the ball down on his chest, picked his spot and scored with consummate skill and accuracy. Phillips then took upon the option to extend his Blackpool contract for a further year, but scored only twice from 18 appearances before following manager Ian Holloway to Championship rivals Crystal Palace. And that's where he played at Palace. On the last day of the January 2013 transfer window, Phillips signed on loan to Crystal Palace until the end of the 2012-13 season. He made his debut as a half-time substitute in the 2-1 win at home to Charlton Athletic, after being 1-0 down prior to his introduction, and scored his first goal for the Eagles in the next game against his former club Watford at Vicarage Road. Palace were again trailing when he came off the bench 2-0 down with half an hour remaining, and Phillips scored the equaliser as the side fought back to achieve a 2-2 draw. Phillips' hat-trick, scored in 8 minutes either side of half in a 4-2 defeat of Hull City, made him the oldest scorer in Palace's history at 39 years and 7 months. This is also the club's fastest ever hat-trick in the league, beating previous records set by Dougie Freeman in 11 minutes in a 5-0 win against Grimsby Town in exactly 17 years before. On 27th of May, he came on as a substitute in the playoff final and converted an extra time penalty after Wilfred Zaha had been fouled by Marco Cassetti to secure Palace's promotion to the Premier League at the expense of former club Watford. Steve Parish indicated in the Croydon Advertiser that Phillips had agreed to a 1-year deal with Palace in July 2013. And of course, on the 20th of July, Palace confirmed that Phillips had joined the club on a 1-year deal. On the 31st of December, Palace announced Phillips would leave the club by mutual consent in January. And Leicester City, on the 15th of January 2014, Leicester City confirmed they assigned Phillips on a short-term contract until the end of the season. The striker made his debut on the 18th of January against Leeds United, coming on as a substitute for Jamie Vardy, helping create the opportunity that saw fellow former England international David Nugent score the winning goal of the game. On the 1st of February, Phillips scored his first goal for the club against AFC Bournemouth, heading in winger Anthony Coquelart's cross. Phillips' second goal for Leicester, his first at home, came in the 3-1 victory over former club Blackpool on the 15th of March. And on the 28th of April, he announced his intention to retire from football at the conclusion of the 2013-14 season. With Leicester already confirmed as champions, Phillips played his final career game in the last match of the season against Doncaster Rovers on the 3rd of May and was substituted in the 65th minute. So for his coaching career, following his retirement from football, Phillips was offered a coaching role and remained at Leicester City as assistant first team coach for the club's first season back in the Premier League. And then Derby County, on the 17th of September 2015, Phillips was appointed as assistant coach to Paul Clement at Derby County. Stoke City, in June 2018, Phillips joined as first team coach to Gary Rowett at Stoke City. He left Stoke on 8th of January 2019. And then South Shields, on the 16th of January 2022, Phillips was appointed as manager of Northern Premier League Premier Division club South Shields. Despite being favourites to win the league, South Shields finished second, lost in the playoff semi-finals to Warrington Town in Phillips' first season as manager. Phillips secured promotion in his second season with the club, winning the league title with 2 games to spare with a 1-0 victory at Whitby Town. He departed the club by mutual consent on the 22nd of April 2023. And on 20th of January 2024, Phillips was appointed as head coach of National League club Hartlepool United. Hartlepool had been relegated from League 2 in the previous seasons and were in 16th position, 4 points above the relegation zone prior to Phillips' appointment. His first match with Hartlepool was a 2-1 home win against York City on the 27th of January. Hartlepool finished the season in 12th position. On the 27th of April 2024, Phillips' departure was confirmed after his contract expired. Following his departure from Hartlepool, a statement from Phillips' representatives said that the club had offered him a 2-year contract before later withdrawing their offer of a new one. Phillips himself added, "I have thoroughly enjoyed working at Hartlepool United with all the existing staff there." Hartlepool won 7 games from his 16 during his tenure there. And then on to AFC Fylde. On October 2024, Phillips was appointed head coach of the National League side AFC Fylde. On 19th of February 2025, 4 months after taking charge, Phillips was relieved of his duties. And I can tell you that now, what an absolute fantastic career that lad's had. So there we go. That's Kevin Phillips, the player profiles. So from the Matt and Cabby in a very stormy studio, we'll catch you later.